Good morning. Well, good afternoon to you. We're here in Australia. It's 9 o'clock morning. New Zealand is already 3 hours ahead. And as soon as we move towards the other side, towards Europe, it's getting earlier and earlier. Today we talk about ozone. And if you click on that little button poll, and I've activated the poll already, I would like you to give me some feedback on which area is most important to you. As you know, we can treat with ozone many different diseases. And there is cancer as one, and probably from our audience, many will be interested in cancer treatments with ozone. But there is also wound healing, when you have open wounds, when you have infections in the skin, and you would like to do that and treat that. You can also treat leaky gut, as we know, to repair your gut mucosa and mucous membrane. You can use it for vaginal treatment. You can use it for ear infections, sinus infections, and what have I forgotten? One more. Wound healing, leaky gut, cancer treatment, and infectious diseases. You know, infectious diseases that are like Lyme disease, hepatitis C, HIV, and many other viral or bacterial infections, and sinus treatments as well. So if you go into poll and you check that out, it's loaded in your screen, and just type the one that you are most interested in, then we will see results, and that will give us a bit of an indication where I put my emphasis on, because I can talk about ozone probably 2 days, and it covers a lot of different areas. So the more you direct me, the more I will cover. I will also cover some of the questions that we've received already. Many of you have posted a lot of questions about side effects, about rashes, about the bottle, about different connections. So we'll cover all of that as well. And we have between every section a Q&A. Now, Deborah, you can't see her. She's over there at the screen. She will gather all your questions, write them down, and then we'll submit them to me so that I can answer or show you how it's actually done. So we can make that quite technical if you like, but we can also cover more of the disease issues and comparison issues with normal ozone devices so that you really get what you want out of this session. All right. So should we start? Do we have a poll already? Do we have poll results?
29% leaky gut and 40% technical stuff.
Okay. Infectious diseases, cancer, and leaky gut. All the same. All same, 29%. So it's pretty, no? Okay, leaky gut, 44. Yay. Really good. It's actually what I'm working on. And I tell you, it's not an easy process. It's actually the only problem that is in that whole leaky gut issue is not cheating, and not by accident cheating, not eating something that you're sensitive to, which brings a lot of things back to square one. So the poll is decided. We start with most important leaky gut, cancer, and infectious diseases. And for infectious diseases, we have some new insights which really help and work. Now, for those of you who haven't been on those pages yet, just trulyheal.com/ozone, and that will give you those 3 pages where you can sign up. So if you want cancer treatment, and I just wanted to let you know, we are working at the moment at the Ozone University. The Ozone University will be a complete course, and everybody who purchases the device, because we've been all over the show. Let me start from the beginning. When I started to promote the first devices, and I learned a lot. In the meantime, I've interviewed a lot. I've been to clinics and checked out. I spoke with patients. So every time I learned more, and my old video was kind of redundant. And that's why we decided to make now the Ozone University. And as soon as you purchase a device, you get, like, in the meantime, while you wait for your package to arrive, where to get your bottle. We've listed a whole range of where to get your bottle, which bottle, what you need. Then we have, as a next step, how to connect it all, how to put all the bits and pieces together with screenshots, with everything. And for those of you who have asked, we cannot give you instructions, written instructions, because that really puts us at risk of providing medical treatment. We can teach you what I do and how I do it, and I can share with you how I do it, which is a different thing. But giving you written instructions on how to do it means I provide medical treatment, so we can't do that. So we'll share in those videos how we do it, and we filmed some friends who do treatments who have, for example, open wounds, so that you can actually see how it works. In that Ozone University, we'll cover then all of those different diseases. So when you have a device, when you have an ozone generator, you actually have a complete pharmacy and handbook, plus all the adjunct treatments available. And that is a huge help. You know, like, it's not just cancer ozone, it's cancer ozone and many other things. So we've covered all of those and why ozone plays part in some of those. And that's what you will get at the Ozone University. And I hope in about a week or two, we should be finished. And then we'll send everybody who has purchased the device the invitation link, sign you up for the course, and you are in. All right. Now, for those of you who want to learn about this more slowly, that we cover all the different areas, again, go back to your individual protocols. And that's where you can also download the PDF of this slideshow, so that you have all the slides and work through in form of a PDF. Now, for those of you who don't know who I am, which I always think everybody should, my name is Marcus Freudenmann. About 15 years ago, a friend of mine was diagnosed with cancer, started a whole journey of exploration, learning. I'm by trade an architect, so I have nothing to do with health. But I'm also a very creative person, so I love filming and editing. And those of you who still know from back then, we created Max Awareness Proprietor Limited as a website and shared thousands of videos and interviews. And I realized the more I did that, the more confused I got. So we then started to travel around the world and search for really the nuggets of gold, those things that work in many clinics around the world, and put all of those things together where we know they have an influence, not now and then, not by accident, maybe not, hyped information. Those things who have research, where we can prove their work, where we showcase how they work, and all of that we've put together into a protocol. And that's what we teach at our academy. So that was my process of learning it all, and learning it for myself, learning it with my family, and now with hundreds of clients from around the world, which gave us a lot of experience. Now, what is ozone? Very short. When you have an ozone generator, any form of ozone generator, even those little ones which suck room air into the device and then blow ozone out here, all of them have a spark chamber. And that's, in modern times today, 99.9% a quartz glass tube. You know, very old devices have plastic and steel, but all the new ones have a quartz glass tube, have a titanium spark head around, and that will then fire into oxygen, and we connect pure oxygen to the bottle. And depending on how fast the oxygen goes through, that spark, that electric spark, like lightning going through, splits either a few molecules apart, you know, O2 split apart, leaves a quivering singlet oxygen, highly energized singlet oxygen. And that can't stay on its own. So it needs to find something to attach. Now, usually there is lots of O2, oxygen, floating around. So it attaches to that O2 and turns into O3. And that's what you have as molecule that is highly activated oxygen. So if we flows through this oxygen very slow, we turn down the flow control, then we have high concentration. You know, it flows slower, but higher concentration. If we turn the volume up and let lots of air through, then only a few molecules are transformed. And that's what we call ozone per liter. So we have 40 grams of ozone per liter, or 15 grams or 99 grams of ozone per liter. And that is the relationship, how concentrated it is. Now, in regards to danger, out of this study, which was done 1980, and then later on again, 5.5 million treatments and 5.5 million treatments with 40 incidents of side effects, really shows that it's a treatment that works for 99.99999% of mankind. There are a few exceptions, and I'll talk about them in great detail because they are important. And I believe those drawbacks are not bad at all because they show us in an instant what needs to be done, what you need to resolve in order to prevent that side effect. Because a healthy person won't have side effects. An unhealthy person, which is completely depleted, may have side effects. So knowing that gives us an indication what we need to correct. So it's actually a very good thing to have. And we'll cover those things in a moment. Now, ozone controversy, I won't go in. You realize it's a very cheap treatment. If I would offer that as a doctor, it costs me something like $1-2 in maximum if I do few treatments per treatment, and I can sell it for in most clinics $100, $120. Some people do it in Europe, for example, for 50 euros, 40 euros. But still, you know, for $1 turning into $50 is a phenomenal profit margin, and no one else except the doctor earns money, which means pharmaceuticals don't like that treatment. Now, in the meantime, and you can see that we've created 4 different outlets, flow regulators. And when you open up your box, you see the new boxes look slightly different. It's all nicely packed in them. So you have here the ozone generator, your flow regulator, all your accessory, the destruct unit, the bags, the hose, your syringes, your power supply, and that's it. So I'll take the ozone generator out to show you what we do here, and the flow regulator and the hose, because these are the things we need, and all the little things I've already unpacked, so I don't need to destroy this unit. All right, now, first, do we have lots of questions already? No. Good. Old and new. This is our first model, which has 10,000 operation hours. In a normal household with 4 people using it 5 times a week, that lasts you about 250 years. So you probably won't run out. This one has a higher capacity of output, has a different spark chamber, and can give us lifetime warranty. So the main difference that we have in those two is here, the quality of the spark chamber is even higher. It's an Italian spark chamber, whereas this one is Chinese, but still they are completely perfect with double quartz glass, with titanium. There is no contamination. They're both perfect. Just this is the improved model that we've created now for ourselves. Okay, coming back to the flow regulator. When you order from your country, and let's say you're ordering from any Commonwealth country, Australia, New Zealand, UK, then you get a regulator like this, and we automatically pack that into your box. If you order from Europe, we have now the German adapter. If you come from America, Canada, we pack the American connector. And they're shipped, the American and Canadian devices from Canada, and the European devices and Australian, New Zealand, they are shipped from Australia. We are looking into sending a bundle to England so that we can distribute it from there, but we're looking for shipping options and distribution. So that will happen pretty soon too. And then Europe has no more import duty. Right now, it's still on. In regards to what kind of oxygen, we use industrial oxygen. And, you know, this is just a steel bottle, very heavy, whereas the aluminum bottle that you use in medical is lighter, aluminum to steel. The only thing you need to watch out for, the content is the same. They're filled from the same reservoir. It's everything the same. The only thing which is different is you can get a very old and battered bottle. Now, let's say it has been in a welding store and they left the valve open and humidity got in and corroded inside the tank. And that's why when I go shopping and I get a bottle, I always say, look, it's standing in the middle of the room. I want a pretty one. Get me one of the newest bottles. And every time we had no objection, no problem. They got me the nicest new bottle. You can look at the date from when they are on the bottle, and then take that. And that will give you the certainty that the bottle is clean. Nothing else is different. The oxygen is identically the same in both instances. All right? Now, ozone advantage. 5 advantages. And I would like to clarify those advantages because they are what actually happens. Everything we add on with, our fantasy, it's a cancer treatment, it's a wound healing treatment, is actually a secondary result of what happens. So if we understand those 5 advantages, we know what happens with ozone. Number 1, it protects your cells from virus, fungi, and mold. As soon as you have high enough oxygen levels in your blood, your cells, when a virus comes along and wants to dog on, that protective shield bounces the virus off and kills it. So, no contamination. Now, if a cell is poorly oxygenated, doesn't have enough oxygen, doesn't have enough energy, then that protective shield vanishes. And that's when then bacteria can enter into the cell, drill into the cell, host in the cell, replicate in the cell, and that is pretty, that's how we know disease grows. In the same way, virus dogs on, releases what I call babies into the cell becomes the host, and then it pops, and millions of virus are released into the bloodstream, dogging on to the next cells. That's why a viral infection goes through the body and really affects everything. So the more you have ozone-oxygen combination in your system, the more you have that protective shield around your cells to bounce them off or to kill them. Now, let's say you have already infected cells. You have a lot of Lyme disease, or you have HIV, or you have any kind of bacterial infection. That means your cells are already contaminated. Now, if I have a very severe infection, long-term progress, it's already in my nervous system, it's already in my muscles, it's already in my tissue, it's everywhere, and you start using ozone, then you actually start to kill off a lot of those cells, which can lead to a big discharge. And that's why we start very slowly, very carefully. Especially if you have an infectious disease, you start with once a week, have a treatment, a very gentle one, and see your reaction, let go of the Herxheimer reaction, clean out, and then you move every second week, twice a week, and then you move on 3 times until you get to that level where you can do 5 times a week without that big physical obstruction. It kills off every time a little bit more, but you don't want to overdo it, all right? That's very important. So what happens then, and this is why this is probably the most important slide of all, I really like it. It protects your cells. So the more you do it, the more protected you get. Plus, healthy cells, when they get oxygen, they go like, yay! They feel fantastic. So it's great. Whereas if unhealthy cells get in contact with ozone, what do? They die. So we have selective filtering. We kill off what is sick and we promote and support what's healthy. And that's gradually building up. I had so many emails saying, I've already done it twice. I didn't feel anything. Ozone, especially rectal ozone, is a 4-week protocol. If you have any setbacks on the way, an 8-week protocol. So don't think one treatment and you feel different. It slowly builds up. It takes the pathogenic load down. It gives you more energy, more ATP production, but it's a gradual, slow process because we can't put you all into ozone. It's only either with autohemotherapy or with rectal, or it's just a little bit, just a tiny portion. So we have to build steady up and slowly, and that will give us the advantage. The second, and you've seen the video probably already 50 times if you've been with me, you'll see here, where is it? There's a little cell. It crawls through and chases bacteria, and it needs and it takes from those red blood cells here, as soon as it touches the red blood cells, it grabs from those red blood cells the oxygen, so that it can sustain the chase. It's like running with an oxygen bottle, you know, behind the bacteria and catching and breathing and then using the oxygen together with vitamins to turn into hydrogen peroxide and killing the bacterium. So you need oxygen 100 times more than if you have no infections. Now let's just go back very short. You have leaky gut. Leaky gut means undigested foods full with bacteria squeeze through those little holes, little bacteria into your bloodstream. That means those fellows need to work overtime, massive amounts. They need to go around the blood and clean out bacteria because your blood should be sterile. So they are in overdrive. If they have not enough oxygen to deal with that on an ongoing basis, that causes disease, that causes then inflammation, that causes infection, infectious hurts, high inflammatory processes. So it needs to be done ongoing. Making the blood more pliable, making the red hemoglobin take on more oxygen, helping to protect the shield, helping with the DNA correction. You know, all of those things are secondary effects that really help, but the main factor was really to protect you and to kill off what shouldn't be in your body. And advantage number 4, it kills off everything that shouldn't be there. And there is something really beautiful. I never understood why, but when you look at a stool test before, Helicobacter pylori, several of the pathogenic bacteria in high levels and healthy bacteria also, all there. Now you do a 4-week treatment protocol and you can see that only the unhealthy are balanced out. It's like it helps to balance your unhealthy bacteria, reducing the pathogenic bacteria, and makes your other cells stronger. And that's just a simple principle that you will find. It kills off virus, mold, candida, fungi, and virus and bacteria, which is, you know, unheard of. There's no medication. If you take antibiotics, what do they kill? Only bacteria. Do they select? No, they kill the good ones and the bad ones. If you use ozone, you only kill the bad ones, not the good ones. And there is plenty of research to prove that. So it's slower. It doesn't work as imminent, as fast as antibiotics, but it works. And that's why if you keep doing it, it really helps. And it cleans out plastic toxicity. And that's something, you know, like I create a completely separate course, a completely different training for our ozone swim pools, because once you've experienced an ozone pool compared to a chlorine or saltwater pool, you'll never ever go back. See, we don't go swimming anywhere except since we have the ozone swim in our pool, because it's like spring water. And I did a lot of tests and checked when we installed it, so I'll present that as a separate thing. Once you've had an ozone pool, you will never ever go back into a chemical laden pool like the Olympic swimmers. They don't do that either. All right. So thinking that you are 75% water and your cells swim in water, it actually makes clean sense to clean all that up and to give energy to your cells. Now, that's another factor that I'd like to mention very short. Singlet oxygen. Those of you who know, there is some German machines that produce singlet energy, singlet oxygen. They suck in the air, and with high electronic sparks, they produce singlet oxygen. Now, singlet is always very short term. It's a fraction of a second, and then they attach to other oxygen molecules. So you cannot really deliver that to the body except in fresh ozone, except in fresh ozone water, except in ozone oil, where the energy is bound. And as soon as you enter that singlet oxygen into the body, all your cells go strong. And that's what you see with dark field, clotted cells, and then ozone, and just one treatment, just one rectal treatment. And you do afterwards the test, and everywhere in your whole body, all cells are energized. Again, it's accumulative. One treatment won't change anything. Repeated treatment will strengthen your cells, will strengthen your ATP production, and give you more and more energy. All right? Questions? Do you have any questions so far about this subject? Yes.
So how does ozone help with brain health in regards to Alzheimer's and dementia?
Okay, that's a good question. Oxygen, repeat the question. How does ozone help with dementia and brain functions? What was it? Alzheimer's. It's not the primary treatment for that. We know that. There is a lot better treatments, but oxygen is required in the brain as well as in the rest of your body. Plus when you have a stroke, for example, what is the first treatment they do after a stroke, after brain damage, after you hit your head, after what else? Like any trauma to your brain? Hyperbaric oxygen. Because the plasma, which is the fluid, the water in our body, we press oxygen into that plasma in such a fine level that it can pass the blood-brain barrier and go into your brain. So the more oxygen you have, the more healing. Now, the rectal ozone will probably not increase your brain oxygen in a high level, but as you slowly build up, it will do too. Plus, and this is probably one of the main functions, you have a blood-brain barrier, which is a mucosa, a mucus-associated lymphatic tissue. So if that mucosa, like your gut mucosa, like your mouth mucosa, it's always moist, humid, mucous membrane. If that is injured, if there is leaky gut, holes in your mouth, in your gut, in your colon, in your brain, blood-brain barrier, then bacteria and toxins can get into the brain. So the more we start filtering that and cleaning out and repairing that mucosa, the more your brain is activated. But let's just face it, Alzheimer, far infrared, near infrared, all of that is a lot more effective. We even use PMF treatment for brain activation. So I wouldn't use ozone for Alzheimer as a main treatment. It's just for overall health.
Is this for ALS?
Is this for ALS? Yes. See, ALS is similar like AIDS, like cancer, multifactorial. A very good friend of mine is diagnosed and suffering, or is in a very terminal state with ALS. And we've been looking at the whole process, how it happened, how it evolved. Very strong gut bacteria problems, Helicobacter pylori, then a strong heavy metal poisoning that he had, highly cadmium, very like an artist, spray paint, cadmium, very high load. So toxic levels, bacterial levels. In the end, before ALS came through, all his teeth pressed out of the gum from the pressure of the bacteria underneath. So actually the tooth was really pushed out, and when it came out with a pff. So there's huge bacteria in the teeth, there is bacteria in the jaw, in the bone, and all of that has passed through the blood-brain barrier, and those bacteria are eating up the brain. So there is a huge devastation from infection and toxicity. Now we know heavy metal toxicity is not influenced by ozone whatsoever. Your cells are more active to work out and to discharge toxins. They have more energy to do that, but it's still not a treatment for heavy metals. It cleans out phthalates, petrochemicals, all the toxins, the chemical toxins. It breaks down medication toxins. All of that is done with ozone, but not heavy metals. So you need to combine detox treatments, PMF, with all the binders, with all the discharge units, with sweating and hypothermia to get rid of heavy metals. You need to do ozone to get rid of the plastic toxicity. Plus you do ozone to get rid of all the infections. Bacteria in your mouth, bacteria in your jaw, bacteria in your teeth, bacteria in your blood, bacteria from leaky gut, bacteria in your stomach from Helicobacter pylori. All of that is treated with ozone. So yes, ALS needs to have in any stage ozone as part of the treatment. But again, because the contamination to get ALS is already such an advanced stage that you need to start extremely slow. Don't overdo it. It's a gradual process, and you need massive amounts of supplementation and amino acids and everything to build up the body so that it can actually deal with the problem.
My My ozone water tastes fine. Am I doing it right? How long should I run the ozone in the water?
Okay, if your water tastes fine, it's not the ozone, it's your taste buds, which are strange. You know, it has a metallic taste. I would like to clarify, if any of you has problems that the machine seems to be not working, or it blows, you know, I turn it on and everything is working, you hear it, but there is no ozone coming out, but I smell ozone, check out in our FAQ, frequently asked questions, on the website trulyheal.com. And check, I think it's the third video down. My ozone generator doesn't work anymore. Question, what now? Just tick and watch that video. I disassemble this whole thing and show you there is inside a little hose that came loose. And you can prevent that easily in future. I'll show you in that video as well. So just watch that video and that will show you if the device doesn't work properly, how to fix it. Did that answer the question? More or less.
Well, right. How to use all the equipment and setup is something someone would like to have.
Okay. We have a brand new video where I had a little zoom camera here to show you the little bits and pieces. And I can send you right after the webinar the link. Yeah, I don't want to go away now, but it's uploaded to YouTube already. It goes into our Ozone University that I just spoke about. It's the second video that you get, how to set everything up, and it takes you through all the different stages, how to connect everything, how to put those little, you know, stop valves in between in the program, and how to make those bubble stone hoses, you know, that connect with the lure lock, then the stop valve, and then the bubble stone. Everything explained in fine detail, and I'll send that to all of you who were on that webinar right away. Okay? Because this is not necessary. That takes up a lot of time. And I made it, because everybody says, Marcus, you're always so fast. I made it very slow and very diligent so that you see exactly how it works.
All right. So can you make an ozone ointment for the gums and teeth with this device?
Yes, you can.
Full cream for the face? If so, what base oil would you recommend?
Always, okay, what kind of base oil would you recommend for gum treatment, for skin treatment, for ointment? Always olive oil. So, you know, we have with the package that you get our olive oil. And that's organic olive oil, and it is prepared 14 days with, I would say, from the power outlet, 10 of those devices for 10 liters. So they really bubble with very high concentration under different temperatures for 14 days. That it's pressurized so that the pressure actually goes in. It's an incredible process. I tried it myself. It didn't really work out. My oil was never as good as this. So when you order this device, and we still have a few left, you get this for free. Now that's so highly valuable, and the price indicates that as well, that I would use that only for wound healing, for vaginal treatments, for, you know, where it's really necessary. Just to lubricate your catheter when you do a rectal treatment, get a cheap ozone oil. Now, if you want to make it yourself, get jojoba, I don't know how you pronounce it for you properly. I think it's jojoba oil or olive oil. They are the best. Coconut oil oxidizes and it stinks and it smells really bad. Very hard to make into ozone oil. But there is pure O3, O3 pure. I can send you the link. You can order from them. You know, really fantastic ozone oil. It's not as powerful as this one, but it is perfect for ointment, for skin. And they have hemp oil, jojoba oil. Jojoba goes into the skin. It doesn't stay sticky. Whereas if you use olive oil and you put it on, that is sticky forever. It's meant to be a healing ointment overnight. Healing ointment for vaginal treatments overnight. So it's supposed to be sticky. If you use the hemp and the jojoba, then that goes into the skin and is absorbed into the skin. And I can send you the link. I really appreciate what they do. You can order it there and save this one for really intense situations like open wounds or vaginal treatments, or rectal cancer, anal cancer, all of that, where it's really helpful directly on the wound. Also, if a tumor breaks open, you would use this one because it's so powerful. First around the tumor, and then once your inflammation is gone, you put it onto the tumor. Open wounds burn. So again, you want to first treat them with ozone gas, ozone treatment, bagging. And then once the skin is built, then you use that on the open wound as well.
Does it help with Parkinson's disease?
Parkinson's disease. Yes, again, Parkinson's is caused by what? There's the same background that we have. A lot of deficiencies, neurotransmitter deficiencies and all of that, plus secondary, usually it's to do with inflammation, brain inflammation. Inflammation is reduced by oxygen. I would prefer for Parkinson the hyperbaric oxygen. So if you have somewhere where you can go and have hyperbaric oxygen, you will get stronger and faster results than with ozone, which you need to do quite a long time to get to that level. And 810 near infrared, which is directly going in amygdala, frontal lobe, like all the hypothalamus being completely stimulated and activated, which then regenerates your nervous system. So the nasal laser 810 would be ideal for Parkinson, ideal for Alzheimer, for all brain related issues that we need to repair and mend.
Does the oil need to be refrigerated?
Look, I have it here in the room and it's very warm here with all our studio and lighting and everything, and it's a thick gel. If I have it in a mediocre cool room, natural cool room or somewhere close to the window, you don't need to refrigerate it. It stays. But if it turns warm, it loses energy. The problem is when I put this into the fridge, it gets so stone hard, so hard that you really have problems to get something out. So find a medium place where it's cool, but not too cold.
Can those of us who order the device prior to the new packages also get these goodies like the ozone oil?
It was in every package. Those who ordered previously, which means that was me a long time ago when you ordered, whether you can get the ozone oil as an added. At the moment, and I have to tell you, it's so expensive. We sell it more or less for cost, and that's $116 and plus shipping. So it's very expensive. I didn't think it was so expensive when I ordered it. And that's why we packaged that to the packages. And I think we have 50 left with the oil. I was looking in pure ozone, simply ozone. Ozone pure ozone, doesn't matter, the oil, to substitute this one because it's so expensive, and then put this one into the shop only for those who need it. But I can look up a possibility to sell you this ozone oil separately with a discounted price. Just write me a short email on our support page, support ticket. And I have to admit, I'm lagging at the moment a little bit behind. We have at the moment every day about 150 emails with questions and everything. And I don't get always through, so don't be impatient. I always get to it, just sometimes not immediately. All right? Just send me a support ticket and I'll send you the link. That's it. Yay! Leaky gut was the prime subject, and I already put it up front. Now, for those of you who treat leaky gut, you know that it's the foundation of many other diseases. Like when I think back, leaky gut were little perforations in my gut membrane, allowed undigested foods, proteins, and everything to go through. Then your body develops a food sensitivity. We know 79% of our world population has food sensitivities. So it's already an indication that they will have leaky gut. And what is the big problem? As soon as you have bacteria going into the bloodstream, as soon as you have undigested foods and solid particles, your immune system goes into full alarm. It needs to shut down facial muscles, arms, feet. You go into that relaxed, tired state, cold sweat back here, pulse rate is going up because your body needs to activate blood flow, and it sends out lots of white blood cells to catch all of those bacteria. And all the process, interleukin 15, interleukin 11, all of those send alarm signals. So lymphocyte plug the holes to fill those holes. The white killer cells start to clean up. It's a massive job. Morning, midday, evening, in between snacks, alcohol in the evening, and if you think about, those white blood cells, they respond so extremely to any kind of change. So if the body is a little bit too acidic, you've been drinking too much soda, eating too much chocolate, had too much coffee, had too much pizza, all of a sudden your acidity level goes up in the body, your immune cells sleep. They cannot work in an acidic environment. So you've brought the level down, they are all sleeping, have no more energy, can't do anything, plus all your acidic food that you had, especially sugar that is converted in your body, feeds bacteria, feeds fungi, feeds mold, and they thrive and double and triple in no time. And that's why leaky gut is the onset of all of those celiac diseases, multiple sclerosis, autism, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, irritable bowel, eczema, dermatitis. And let's face it, if I look through and I say my life, looking backwards, what I had eczema, I had celiac, I had high intolerance to dairy, multiple sclerosis, luckily not, autism not, fibromyalgia, I had skin rashes, chronic fatigue, irritable bowel, eczema, dermatitis, ulcerative colitis, candidatitis. And who do you know doesn't have at least 2 or 3 of those? Plus has problems with their digestion. Bloating. We know bloating is a very clear indication that there is something happening in your gut that should not. And that's all triggered by leaky gut. So it's really crucial that we deal with it. And it's just one thing that you need to remember about leaky gut. Every single gut membrane cell is glued together with those tight junctions. That's how they are stuck together, hold on to each other, and don't let food go through in between. And these are protein links, little protein glue, super glue, one at the other. And they hold these cells together. Now, what dissolves those protein links? Toxins like glyphosate, which is in Roundup, which is built into any GMO corn automatically because they don't want to spray, so they put it directly into the corn. So we have glyphosate as one of the main triggers, a tiny little bit under an electron microscope, and those tight junctions dissolve. They just disappear. And then food can go through. Inflammation destroys tight junctions. Toxins, heavy metal poisoning, mercury, arsenic, lead destroys tight junctions. Then we have many chemicals, especially in your pharmaceuticals. So as a side effect, when you have chemotherapy, for example, one of the medication side effects says that you have leaky gut or increased gut permeability as a side effect. So there's plenty of things that do it. Now, if you have food sensitivities already, which means minute little holes that create a reaction, this is causing inflammation. So if you keep eating the same food that you're sensitive to, the inflammatory markers go up. The more inflammation you have, the bigger the holes get. And you can test that with a test that is called lactulose and mannitol. And they're 2 sugar molecules that you drink. And then it goes through, and then you have a result at the end that shows you how permeable your gut is, how many nutrients are absorbed, and how much food goes through undigested. They give you a very clear reading. There's a beautiful test from Ecogenetics. What is the name? It'll come in a second. I hope I remember. Ecogenetics, is that the name? No, I mix it up probably. But it's a test that you can order. It's $110, and they perform a gut permeability test. You can do that at home, send it in. And once you have your results back, you go through the Ozone protocol with all the adjunct treatments. And then once you're out, you do the test again and you can see what has changed, and it's phenomenal. You know, leaky gut is responsive, extremely responsive to those, to repairing the gut ozone. Econogenics, thank you very much. And it's called the gut permeability test, econogenics. Okay, now knowing that ozone that we have different mucosas, mucus-associated lymphatic tissue. It's not only in your gut, it's not only the colon, it's the small intestine, it's actually every mucous membrane, so your whole mouth, your tonsils, all of that is affected. So sinus, moist, humid, filtering the inside world from the outside world, is afflicted. Now, if you have gut problems, leaky gut, then you will have sinus problems. It's always correlated. They communicate with each other. It's one bacteria that lives in all. Then you have brain fog, depression, anxiety, ADHD, complete inability to focus. Then you have skin, which is another mucous membrane, filters the outside world from getting in. Now you put creams on, sun cream, petrochemical creams, is all absorbed into the bloodstream. It's a filter. Now, if that filter is broken and has damage, you get acne, rosacea, eczema, psoriasis, thyroid, Hashimoto, you know, all the hypothyroidism, craves, colon, whether that's constipation or diarrhea, IBS, IBD, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, all of that is triggered by leaky gut. It's just different stages of evolution. And then you have, as an end result, constant stress. And a lot of people don't correlate that. If my body is under attack constantly, for breakfast, I eat gluten and dairy, which are the two no-nos for me, and I eat them very happily, then my body has alarm signals going from my tummy throughout the body saying, oh my God, stress, we need to catch all those undigested proteins, and inflammation is going up and we need to work. Stress signals. Now, between my gut and my brain is the vagal nerve. And that vagal nerve sends neurotransmitter signals up to my brain and says, stress, 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 alarm, we need to defend ourselves. Guess how that influences my emotional state? You know, people that have panic attacks, that have stress, that have depression, that have anxiety, is very often related to the emotion that they have in their gut from the invasion, from the attack that happens. So, and that causes then cortisol, because your body says stress. Adrenals send out all the stress signals into the body to make your immune system work, and that causes then adrenal fatigue or your hypothalamus to shut down. And then joint problems, arthritis, that's the pockets where bacteria then start to accumulate, cause inflammation, and cause arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, as an end result of the body not being able to deal with those bacteria and infectious diseases.
Question?
Yes, question.
All right. So I've heard from an alternative doctor to not use hyperbaric ozone for lung issues. So how can you use ozone for something like lung nodules? Can it be dangerous?
Okay. There is, you should read louder, it's a long question. Can I use, and the question was already wrong. Hyperbaric ozone doesn't exist. Is that what you said? Hyperbaric ozone. Okay, there is no possibility for you to breathe in ozone. The only cell that doesn't have a protective shield in your body, the only cells is your lung cells. So the only cell that needs to stay away from ozone is your lungs. That's why breathing in ozone is the only danger that you have. So if you turn on the ozone generator and you blow out ozone into the air, in a big room with a bit of ventilation, that's not really a problem. But if it becomes too intense, you feel it's a coughing, it's an irritation, and it's very unpleasant. So don't do that. Always go and ventilate well. Use the destruct unit that we have to break down the ozone. Don't blow it straight out into the room. Do it by an open window, do it by an open door, and that's fine. So there is no hyperbaric ozone. Okay, hyperbaric oxygen is absolutely perfect for any health condition, especially brain-related condition, because It's squeezed into the plasma of the body, and as it circles through, you know, like when you drink water, what do? You drink water and it's directly through some capillary system taken into your brain. The first water that is replaced is the water in your brain, you know, where your brain swims in. So when you drink ozone water, you replenish that and give a lot of oxygen to your brain. And in the same way, when you do hyperbaric oxygen, you give ozone oxygen to your whole body. It doesn't kill off bacteria. It has no fungicidal, pesticidal effect, but it has the effect of providing oxygen to the system.
Can those who bought the old model get access to the new video university?
Yes. Yes. Everybody who purchased an ozone device from us will get the link sent as soon as the Ozone University is finished, and you'll be submitted to that, and then you can start going through. Everybody who has purchased from us will have access to that.
Can you talk about drinking ozone water? Can you ever drink too much?
Can you ever drink too much ozone water? I would guess yes. I don't know. I've tried 3 liters per day, despite it really tastes horrible. And I had no negative side effects. When you look at all the studies, and I think it's just because it's usually done in the clinic, you go, you get your ozone water, and then you go home. So, or patients in the clinic, they keep it controlled. 3 glasses a day, normal glasses, just small glasses, does the trick. So you can have all the results, all the effects, which especially Helicobacter pylori was 85%, you know, with 3 glasses. Perfect. You don't need more than that. I always think more is better. It's sometimes not. We know from homeopathics almost nothing in it and it still works. So don't overdo it. Keep it to, 3 big glasses if you want, if that's okay, but don't overdo it. I think everything too much can have side effects too. Any more questions?
Yes. Can this machine be used for ozone sauna with oxygen concentrate?
Okay. Can this device be used for ozone sauna with oxygen concentrator? I would strongly discourage. I don't know why we have that vision, we need to combine many things, like the Hocket, for example. Hocket is that fiberglass container where you sit in and then they steam in oxygen, ozone, together with steam, hot steam, and they heat up temperature. So it's a sauna effect. And there are some benefits of doing that. But as soon as, and this is the principle, as soon as singlet oxygen connects to another molecule, like water, for example, in a steam sauna or humidity from the body, it's neutralized. So we don't want, it kills the bacteria in the environment and it's neutralized. So when you make ozone water, you use cold water, as cold as possible, to create a high saturation of ozone water with ozone. So as soon as room temperature is on, there is hardly any saturation. If your water is a little bit warm, none whatsoever. So the concept of having a sauna at the same time with ozone is proven to be ineffective. And several studies show that. So if you do rectal ozone or ozone water and then have a sauna treatment, then you have triple the effect. So combining the two is certainly not worthwhile. Plus, you need those big body bags to go in because you don't want to breathe it in. So you need to insulate yourself. And again, that's huge humidity, which then reacts with the ozone, which reduces the effects drastically. I wouldn't do it. It's just simply proven to be less effective than if you do one at a time. That's it? Good. Leaky gut, adjunct, combined treatments, very important. See, I can tell you out of my own experience, and I'm going through drama after drama with all sorts of things that we went out, Thai food with coconut cream, really well cooked, didn't have a problem. and I had a dessert and there was lactose in it. I respond to lactose like crazy. It really causes diarrhea within minutes. So I hardly make it home. So I know when I cheat. And I had in the last few weeks, tiny little things where I thought I was lactose free, but I wasn't, which triggered my problem. This is probably the biggest shortcoming of all treatments. You can repair, but if you destroy at the same time, ongoing, it really makes it difficult. Now, there's two main things that you need to avoid while healing your gut. Number one is to eat foods that you're sensitive to. And it's very easy to avoid with a food exclusion diet or an IgG, IgA test to find those out and avoid them as much as you can. The second factor, which is really important, no sprayed foods. No veggies that you buy in the normal supermarket. Glyphosate is the worst killer of those tight junctions. It deletes them in no time. So even if you've done a lot of good and you've repaired and you've restored and you've given your body all the supplements and nutrients that it needs as building blocks, all good, and then you have glyphosate, it actually just dissolves those tight junctions as you recreated them. So that's the two main things. Another one which is less potent is toxins. A lot of people who had their amalgam fillings removed unconsciously had after that massive leaky gut, and their values, leaky gut values in that, what was the name of the test?
It was actually wrong. It was the Genova Diagnostics.
Genova Diagnostics. Thank you. Thank you. Genova Diagnostics. So when you take that gut permeability from Genova and they had removed all their heavy metals, it spiked and it went through with leaky gut through the roof. So there is a few things, toxins, glyphosate, and food sensitivities that you need to avoid. Plus, you need to give your body some, how do you call it, building blocks, zinc, selenium, magnesium, molybdenum. There is a whole range. L-glutamine, Deborah, helps me out. That you, MSM, what is it? Yeah, MSM as well. So you have plenty, and we've listed them in the university, step by step, so that you don't miss out on some of the really helpful ones to build that up. And this slipped down here. All right. Now, it is quite expensive. I had a colonoscopy to check out my gut before and after, but to get those cross sections, to get that. But I tell you what, it's worth doing, because when my doctor showed me the results of the gut permeability and how the mucosa had transformed and changed, it's actually rewarding, because you feel, I've done something, I've healed my body. And when it looks so well defined like this, it really is fantastic. So it's a bit of a process, but for me, that was kind of, yes, it works. And I'm researching things slightly different. I really look and try it out. I think I'm probably one of the only ones who has done plenty of hypothermia treatments to realize what it does and how my health changes and transforms. I've been to so many clinics and I asked every single doctor, have you done hypothermia yourself? And they all said, oh, no, we only provide that for patients. They even don't provide it to the nurses so that they would know how it feels, which is, in my opinion, very sad. Anything we do for health, we should try ourselves. And I've been very diligent with this, and it is a phenomenal result. Okay? Questions to leaky gut or none more anymore?
We've only got one question in it. How long do you bubble the ozone water?
5 minutes. 5 minutes. Look, if I use this device, I have 25% nitrogen and 75% nitrogen, 25% oxygen. So if I concentrate that and bubble that into water to get a concentration of 23 milligrams of ozone per liter, I need to bubble about half an hour into cold water. That's because there is so little oxygen. If we use this device, or this, it doesn't matter, where we have 100% oxygen and we convert that, we have 5 times potency. So you do about 5 minutes here to get to the same results as here, half an hour. And that's why it really is 3 minutes to 5 minutes, depending on how cold your water is. If you put it into an ice bucket, put your water bottle into the ice bucket and then start bubbling, 3 minutes and you have full concentration. And we usually start with half liter. So if you use half liter flow rate, which produces 23 milligrams of ozone per liter, you're fine. It's not as bad tasting. If you can hold more, if you are willing to go a little bit more, you want to get rid of your Helicobacter pylori or some gut ulcers, then you can go to 1/4 liter and use that. But it becomes very tangy, very tangy. All right, that's it. Infectious diseases. Okay. When I started this project, I had a few friends of mine who have Lyme disease. My mother-in-law has Lyme disease. And it appears that it's so logical in approach, but it's not. There is no person that has Lyme stage 3 who has not a whole host of other problems. You know, that stage 3, to allow stage 3 to happen, means you have a lot of other things wrong. And that's what came out with many of them. Deficiencies, incredible deficiencies, co-infections. When we did the tropical infectious test, where you get results of all the different viral infections, you know, there was at least 2 or 3 at the same time. Like with ALS, toxic load, huge amounts of toxins in the system, plastic, non-chemical toxins, as well as, and you remember I spoke in my last webinar about non-heavy metal toxins, really dangerous. And they have such huge potency to destroy our whole life. So they were existent. Then heavy metal poisoning. It's always many of those, plus usually a destroyed gut membrane, which means deficiencies, malabsorption, not enough nutrients to actually deal with the problem. So just using ozone and say, that's it, I'm going to get rid of my Lyme disease, doesn't really work. 1 in 30 person having the virus, Lyme disease, bacteria, 1 in 30 will have the disease. You often see family members, husband, having the same virus or same bacteria, but has no symptoms. Whereas the other partner, which is rather sickly or has more issues, will develop stage 2. Now, 1 in 50 people will develop stage 2 or 3. And that's really showing that there is a whole lot more that needs to be addressed. Now, when you think about the very first slide that we had, where your cells are protected when you have high oxygen and good nutrient value. And as soon as your oxygen level goes down, then all your bacteria can start multiplying and taking over the body. Now you need to reverse that. And that's a job that requires multifaceted approach. Now, what can cause diseases? Did you want to say something?
Yeah. Just back on the whole leaky gut. When you used ozone to help leaky gut and repaired your gut, why are you still so sensitive to the problem food? Is there any way to become strong again so you can eat normally?
I love your question. Can I someone eat normally again once I healed my gut? Yes, I think it is possible, but it requires you to completely heal the gut. And my issue with my traveling, being out, being away, is always, I don't go all the way. It's just always during the healing phase, I slip. And I have to say, and those of you who know me, I'm a very social person and I like to celebrate life. I'm not very adamant. And that is my shortcoming. That's my biggest problem. So when I have it almost done, I already feel great enough. I feel, I had for the first time in my life, no more diarrhea, solid formed stool. And I thought it was fantastic. What gave me that? Permission to cheat. So it's my problem. I have not a health problem. Sabrina says, it's always in your head. So it's a head problem. And that is something I need to face. If you're more diligent, you can probably take it all the way, restore, get rid of your inflammation, get rid of and heal the gut. And then when you eat it, there will be no response. In my case, it's just I lack that discipline. Exactly. So say that again. There is food sensitivities which come with a 2-day, 1-day delay. And then there is allergies, which already have such a vast body reaction that it's instant. I am already at the allergic stage. So if I have lactose, it's an allergic reaction, not a food sensitivity reaction. And that's why it's so imminent and vehement and explosive. So that's my problem. But I guess those of you who have IBS, IBD, irritable bowel syndrome, you know it's also related to stress in combination with undigested food. So it's a little bit more tricky to deal with than just standard food sensitivities.
Does ozone kill candida overgrowth?
Yes, it does. It does. We'll cover that when we talk about vaginal treatments, because candida is very often in conjunction with rush. And you can treat that with ozone water, with rectal insufflations, very, very easy and very fast. And I won't go through all the things here, but just always combine detox at the same time as you do your ozone treatments, because once you detox, the irritation, the inflammation of heavy metals in your gut is gone. I actually should have put it in. I forgot that. They took a sheep. I just saw a presentation, if you can see it, from Dr. Mutter in Germany, and I had a long interview with him. Dr. Mutter explained that they put an amalgam filling only in the bottom teeth of a sheep, and that was radioactive, radio-labeled, so that they took from the side an image from the sheep with a gamma camera, so they could see where it started to assimilate in the body. After 2 days, the whole mouth was completely contaminated, plus the kidneys. You could see the 2 kidneys in the sheep being contaminated with radioactivity and mercury, because the mercury that leached out went there. And then they had, as a second stage, liver and intestines, and then it went into the brain. Within 28 days, the whole sheep was completely poisoned and contaminated with that radio-labeled mercury. So when that is happening and your gut has that irritation non-stop, you really need to bring that level down, because you stop your ozone treatment, you stop the healing, and the heavy metal will kickstart the process again into gear. So it's, like I said, it's a multifaceted approach. Infectious diseases. Are we in infectious diseases? Yes. Oh, well, it's just infectious diseases are often also related to your leaky gut. Think about who is in charge of an infection. Who deals with infections? Guess? Come on. Do they write? No, they don't write. They are 30 seconds behind. Who is in charge of your infectious diseases? Bacteria, fungi, mold, virus. Your white blood cells, your killer cells. So think about that. Those cells need to deal with infections all the time. Now you have leaky gut and you squeeze bacteria into your gut, you squeeze undigested. Where does your whole immune army needs to go? Why does it live already there? Into your gut. That's why the immune system is full on at work, which means any kind of infection has free, in Germany we say the cat is out of the house, the mice dance on the table, parents out of the house, the children have a party. It's actually the same thing. The immune police is too occupied with leaky gut, and therefore everything else can flourish, including cancer. And that's why it's so important. Now, chronic viral loads, mainly neurotropic, slow-acting viruses from immunization. You know that when you get your 21 baby vaccines right in the beginning, there is a lot of slow-acting viruses that are injected into the baby, plus heavy metal poisoning, mercury, that causes all sorts of issues. Now, that's already the start of a completely compromised immune system. And then you look at how to reverse that, how to get that back. It's a massive process, and ozone is only one part of it. With Lyme disease, I found that patients, and I just bring it very practically back, that have very high levels of Lyme, advanced stage of Lyme, need to start very slow. I had one friend, she was suffering now from 18 years of Lyme. And it got so bad that she was in bed. She could not move anymore. Agony, pain, muscle pain, brain fog, everything you can name it. And she started with Ozone. And at first it got a massive Herxheimer reaction, just with a tiny bit on 1 liter. We didn't even go to 3/4. We started on 1 liter flow speed. And she had a massive Herxheimer from that and started to tremor and pain. But she said, I'm going to go through. I don't give up. A bit of Herxheimer, I don't care. I want to get rid of it. So she went through, did 2 treatments a week. That was all she could bear. In the second week, she went for 3 treatments. Then she went for 4 treatments, had a week break to break down all the toxins, and started to build up. She's now using the complete Cuba protocol for the 3rd time. She's out and about. She's out with people. She's shopping. After years in bed, it's a phenomenal result. Plus, Sabrina has put her onto a whole regimen of supplements and amino acids and all of that. So don't think it's the only. Plus, she does once a week hypothermia. And that is the most important immune booster that you can create on top of Ozone. So that has helped. Plus, that immune booster is not relevant, the 655. It's a fraction of Ozone. So when you consider buying a 655 as an immune booster compared to the Ozone, that is 100 times more effective, versatile, stronger, more powerful in different areas than any 655. Just to let you know, it is double the price, but it gives you a lot more. Hepatitis C is actually very, very simple to treat with Ozone, rectal insufflation and Ozone water. And you see the chart here from high levels going straight down without any problems in a short time. You don't get rid of it. That's the problem. See, after 6 months, and they did 12 months and 2 years of treatment, it doesn't go further down, which means you stop, you go back to a happy lifestyle and eat a lot of sugar and feed your bacteria, and bing, it comes back. So it's maintenance, checking, controlling, maintaining. And at a certain stage, you probably will be strong enough, your immune system will be strong enough to handle it on its own. HIV and AIDS, again, plenty of cases. It's not to kill the virus. It's not to destroy it and get rid of it. It's to strengthen your immune system to stand the onslaught of those viral loads. And it's really, just see it as an ongoing maintenance program. Once you have HIV, like I said again, 1 in 10 people being diagnosed with the HIV virus will develop AIDS. Why do they develop AIDS? Because they are lacking lots of deficiencies that immune system can't work. And think about it in a way like your immune system doesn't have bullets. Zinc, selenium, magnesium are bullets. Vitamins are bullets. It converts them itself into a machine gun, into hydrogen peroxide. But you need those building blocks for your immune system to work. So deficiencies, inflammation, toxins, it's always the same thing. No matter which disease, you always need to go the whole load. And we'll talk about that when we cover cancer. Any more questions about infectious diseases? None? Good. I think I made it too scary and you stopped asking questions. When you have an advanced stage of disease, I know we all would like to hear, oh, just take this one remedy and that will take care of it all. And then you can go back to your old life. I know that tendency, and I've tried every shortcut there is possible without results. And I've seen patients spending thousands of dollars into one promise after the other. And after they've done that and with no results, starting to clean up what I call the mess, tidy up, put everything into the refrigerator that you need, cleaning out the toxins, detoxifying the body, creating a healing environment, they got better. And when you see that so consistently, every time, every single time, how everything improves when you clean up and take toxins out and replenish deficiencies, then you know that this is actually what disease wants to teach us. There is no drawback without a benefit. And disease is certainly a big drawback, but it has a benefit of teaching us how to live more consciously, how to live more effectively, how to gain more energy. See, a lot of people would be happy with brain fog. You know, I can bear the brain fog if I don't have a deadly disease at the same time. Well, why would you then do a brain fog if you can have a clear mind that can think? So always see it as a direction. Disease pulls you into a certain direction that improves your life and makes it worth living. Wound healing was pretty low. That had no big. So I won't go big into wound healing. It's actually the most documented, the most researched, and the most proven to work with ozone in a massive way. So if you want to read all the research studies below on that page, if you want to look at all those horrible pictures, be my guest. It's very intense, but we've seen miracles. I would like to cover only one point. Why is that not there? Okay, I put it to cancer. So I'll jump very short because I believe this is really the crucial thing that you need to know. When we have here infections, let me ask you a question. Oh, I've updated it on my computer and my, oh, let me see. Is my telephone over there? I'll load it here in the meantime so that I have the latest version because I want to show you those images. They're really, 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 really important. Side effects from treating. Let me just load it fresh. Updating. It's updating. We have one side effect from using external treatment, ozone creams, or insufflation, not bagging, you know, external treatment bagging. So you put your arm in a bag or you put it over an open wound for that to be treated. And then you get a rash. And that rash can be pretty painful. It starts to become pretty big, blistering rash. And I find the slides. Just hold on 1 second. Q&A. Here we go. And it's here in the right place. So let me just plug this in. Do you see that? It's coming. It should be coming. Let me put this aside. Come on. Yep, here it is. Okay, very important. You see, this is a rash that happened after bagging, after bag treatment. And the main reason why you can get a rash is because you equilibrated not properly. You have an oxidative treatment, which is ozone treatment, oxidation, and you have, to stay healthy, to keep your immune system supported, you have antioxidants, vitamin C, for example, glutathione. These are the scavengers that clean up your body and help the immune system to deal with toxins and mold and whatever. So antioxidants and oxidation. Oxidation actually causes inflammation and short-term destruction of unhealthy cells. So when your antioxidant level is too low, is gone down, you have no more antioxidants in your body available, protective shields around your cells, then ozone will start to destroy healthy cells. So there's three main problems. Individuals who react to ozone with severe detoxification rash, that's what it's called, are individuals who have vastly depleted antioxidant levels in your body. The very first thing you want to do if you have a big rash and if it's blistering, go to your doctor and have vitamin C and glutathione infusion, IV. Really don't hesitate to do a big load. You can go and have 30 grams of vitamin C infusions over a few days. You can have glutathione infusions. You know, living close to Mexico makes it very inexpensive, but you'll find everywhere doctors who do that. Bring your antioxidant level up. MSM is very important. Bring your pH down. You want to go into an alkaline pH so that your antioxidant level goes up. You will find plenty of high blueberries you know, all the different juices and ointments and everything that is sold with high antioxidant levels. Deborah, what are the main ones that everybody can take, antioxidants?
Well, just like blueberries, acai berries.
Yeah, blueberries, acai berries, goji berries, you know, there is plenty. So don't hesitate to really consume as many with as little sugar as possible to fill that up. Who have a lot of toxic waste stored in fat cells. Now, when you look at those toxins popping out after an ozone treatment, it actually opens the pores. Those cells push out toxins, and that can be very itchy, extremely itchy. So start immediately with a clay bath. Use magnesium and clay to pull out those toxins from the skin. It actually is little toxic pockets that are released from your fat cells. Edible clay and magnetic clay are probably the most gentle without causing a reaction. So you don't want to cover it up. You don't want to heal it out. You want to pull out the toxins. You can go into a far infrared sauna, sweat it out, and use a swiper to swipe off all the toxins and get rid of it. Go out, have a shower, go back in so that the sweat is washed away. The more you get rid of those toxins, the more your body will start to heal up. So it's very important to have a toxic waste stored in fat cells and suffering from chronic systemic infections, which result with the accumulation of toxic acid waste built up in the body from the pathogenic organism. You know, I always say bacteria pee and poo. They have toxic waste, and that toxic waste again is stored in pockets. If your body doesn't have an active immune system, doesn't have a lot of antioxidants, then it says, okay, I can't get it all the way to the liver. I can't get it all the way out through the poo or kidneys. So I store it here. You know, I don't have more energy to do the more. So it stores it in tiny little pockets. And these are then the rashes that come from it. So if that's what you have, and we had one lady, she has breast cancer, where the cancer oozed through the skin, and she used the oil and the bagging, and it started a full body rash. So depleted antioxidants. First thing, go to the doctor, IV treatments, antioxidants, bring them up and stop any ozone treatment until that's restored. See, within normally 2 days, you can go back to ozone treatments once your antioxidant levels are up, but you need to bring them up first. Then get rid of toxins with clay and with sauna and warm bath and magnesium, and then start dealing with rectal ozone, with the infections, with all the pathogens, and ozone water, but don't touch the skin until that's resolved. Okay?
Question?
Yes.
Your friend with Lyme, did she do rectal insufflations, ear insufflations, and vaginal insufflations?
Vaginal and rectal. Ear doesn't really do a lot. If you don't have ear infections, you don't need to do an ear treatment. That mucous membrane in your ear is so tiny that it doesn't affect a lot. Sinus would be a much bigger area. So if you do sinus treatment to repair that blood-brain barrier, to clear out, you know, your brain and to pull out toxins, that's fine. But ear doesn't really do a lot.
And has psoriasis been helped with ozone treatment?
Psoriasis is absolutely based on as a secondary disease from leaky gut, which means as soon as you start treating leaky gut, you resolve that, it's gone.
And what do you find better, vaginal or rectal?
For me, rectal. For most men, I would say rectal. For female, it's a double whammy. Look, we have in a moment the vaginal treatment, and we've done a lot of research in that. It is a very easy treatment. It starts out with 5 minutes, and I'll show you how to set it up. And it's very easy to do. You build up slowly to 15-minute treatment, and you do that. And the absorption of oxygen is doubled and tripled by that treatment. So I would always do it. Plus, a lot of bacteria is and candida and what was the other one? Candida, bacteria in the vagina. What are the other ones?
Candida overgrowth, thrush.
It's just thrush, candida overgrowth. There's research that in a matter of 5 treatments, the bacterial load was reduced by 80%. And the healing and the gut, the mucous membrane healing after 12 days in that one research study. And I have the study, so I'll show you in a moment. And that's phenomenal. So yes, always include that if you can. This is very important here. When the body does not have adequate levels of amino acids, cysteine, glycine, glutamate, and body cells cannot adequately produce glutathione. Glutathione is what we said before, the master antioxidant. So when you have no antioxidant and you use ozone, you can get those rashes. But your body cannot produce glutathione if you do not have amino acids as building blocks for your body to produce it. So it's really important that you have vitamin C, vitamin E, all of that as a supplementation at the same time for it to be absorbed, to build the antioxidants. Therefore, glutathione is the first and most important antioxidant to deal with, although not the only one. And then, as I said before, urine pH and saliva pH, very important if you bring them up. There's a great article. It's on silvermedicine.org, ozone sonar rashes. And he's gone through a whole range of different treatments and how they can deal with those rashes, especially with people who are so sincerely depleted. Okay, we've done this. Now we are approaching the subject of cancer. And I guess that's very important for many. And like I said, it sounds like I'm selling cures. I don't. I really don't. And I want to make that as clear as I can. Yesterday I had an email. I bought a PMF from you and I still have cancer and I spent so much money on that device and I still can't destroy the tumor. And I want to make that clear. That's not the purpose of a PMF. That's not the purpose of an ozone machine. What we do with all our approaches, with all our treatments, we remove the cause of disease. And ozone is one of those factors that deals with a lot of causes. Now look at what triggers cancer. What causes cancer? If you have an inflamed area, your inflamed cells cannot produce ATP, so they would normally die. Your cancer cell says, hey, or your mutating cells say, hey, if I can't produce ATP with oxygen and mitochondria because it's inflamed here, I could actually ferment my glucose and then survive. So that's the process why you have in lack of oxygen and highly inflamed areas, cancer cells promoted dramatically. Toxins, healthy cells with toxins die or mutate and thrive. Every cancer has 40,000, 20,000 times higher concentration of heavy metals and bacteria. They love it. And then you have stress levels and deficiencies. Starving cells cannot defend themselves. So these are the principle. Lack of oxygen. This is ozone. This is where we really deal with ozone. Bring back oxygen into the system, kill off pathogens, kill off bacteria, activate our healthy cells that they can defend themselves. And then we have a healing that lasts for the next 50 years. Instead of trying to kill the cancer and destroy it, but we leave the mess. It's not working this way. And that's why this is the approach that we do. We change the environment. Now, I just add another example because I love it. When you have mushrooms here growing, pull out a mushroom. So many people use Cansema and you pull out the tumor and then you pull out the next and then you pull the one here and then you have one on your legs. They have roots underneath going through the whole body. Can you pull out one mushroom after the other and get rid of them? No, they keep growing, right? Because the acidic environment in that forest, the lack of sunshine, the environment is absolutely perfect for mushrooms to grow. So what can I do? I cut a few branches, let sunlight through. Then I rake the earth and put a few nutrients into the soil. What happens instantly? Mushrooms die off and other things grow. Healthy bacteria, healthy environment, bushes, plants, whatever, things we want. And that's the principle of healing cancer. We pull out those things that do not work and change the environment. And that's what ozone does. These are all causes of cancer. Stress can trigger cancer. Lack of oxygen can trigger cancer. We've seen that on that image before. Hormones, hormone-related cancers. We have infections, infectious diseases, Hodgkin's lymphoma, with all the triggers, from different viruses and bacteria. Lifestyle, pH balance, inflammation, deficiencies, diet, gut health, and toxins can all trigger cancer. So what we do is when we evaluate a client, we work through all of those areas and check which ones are infected, which ones are problematic. So then we look at which treatment covers most of them. Now look at all the blue circles are dealt with ozone. Dental, your ozone doctor will probably use it to clean out root canals and fillings. They will detoxify plastic toxicity, petrochemicals out of your body. It's used to heal the gut. It's used to repair some of your food sensitivities. It is anti-inflammatory. It is getting rid of infections. As a cancer treatment, it can be used directly. It repairs hormones and it oxygenates the body. One treatment covering this is our 24 course chart. We have a 10 course chart, 12 course chart, always just broken down differently. But this is one of the most accurate to showcase that ozone covers so many different areas that it's a mandatory part. You won't find a clinic in Mexico and you won't find any clinic in Europe that is not using ozone as a main modality for their treatments. The only difference is in America, they have to do it mostly under the radar or be in Nevada or in Arizona to be able to do it. It's just legally difficult to promote ozone as a treatment because we know pharmaceuticals don't earn any money. Now, in Cuba is at the moment like one of those prime spots for health industry to go. Health tourism. Cuba is number one. They have the highest degree of standards and clarity. So a lot of people travel there, and there are several ozone clinics. Dr. Emilia, one of them. They really treat with ozone rectal, colon, and colorectal, and all sorts of different cancers. And the results are quite phenomenal. Again, they don't do just the ozone. They do supplementation, detoxification, repair, balancing out all the biochemical markers, and all of a sudden the tumor disappears. So it's a really beautiful thing. Prostate cancer, Dr. Rao proved that long-term bacteria, from your bladder, all the bacteria that you have go in through the prostate. From your urinary channel, all the bacteria can travel up into the prostate. So this is a hub for bacteria. If you have sugar-laden diet, what do you have in your urine? Bacteria, plenty of those. So that's a hub in the prostate. Now you have also, because there's that connection to the seminal fluids, so it really is bacteria very fast infected. Females even 10 times worse because the urinary channel is so much shorter. And then you have heavy metal poisoning. Where is your heavy metal taken out of the body? It's chelated by your liver and chelated by your kidneys and then transported out of your body. If you do a chelation treatment, it goes all with binders, zeolite, through your kidneys, through the urine, which means, again, all the heavy metals bound, half bound, not bound, go through your urine, through the prostate. So 50, I think the worst case was 50,000. The general denominator was 40,000 times higher concentration of heavy metal and bacteria in the prostate. And if they take, because they always cut a little bit more, the healthy tissue beside was a lot less, 20,000 times less toxic than the tumor. So by using ozone rectally, you blow in ozone, and this is actually quite a nice image and the size as well. Whereas, Deborah, would you mind giving me a catheter out of what the box down there? No, in the cupboard. I've cleaned everything up here, my table, so that nothing is here. I need to open it, so we get a new one. You take the catheter, and that's actually pretty much right size. The question is, how far do you insert the catheter into your rectum? Now, you see it has here 2 little holes. So those 2 little holes should be past the sphincter, which is that muscle that you hold when you need to go to the loo. So at least that far to be in. What we notice, then you see those little muscles here? They actually contract. So the more your stool is towards the end, the more urgent you need to go to the toilet. So when you push your catheter in, let's say that far, you have hardly any pressure. You don't have that feeling that you need to go to the loo very urgently, and that really helps. So I would suggest when you insert it to really put it far up. It helps. Also for vaginal treatments, they say about 6 centimeters, which is about 3 inches. 6, yeah, not quite. You calculate. I think it's divided by 2 point something, so have a look. 6 centimeters until you feel a resistance so that you really get to the fallopian tubes, and we have that on the next image. So prostate responds really well to a combination of PMF with ozone. Again, going back, you sit on your PMF device and you pulse into here to detoxify heavy metals out of the prostate. You put it onto the front, which is another point. You put the cushion in front of you, so you box it. You have the pulse from behind, you have the pulse from on top, and you detoxify your prostate. At the same time, you provide oxygen for that area for the healing and for the lymphatic system and drain your system. So it really is a double whammy, and ozone is mandatory mostly with PMF for prostate treatments as well.
Two questions?
Yes.
So what about removing scar tissue from laser surgery or muscular degeneration from histoplasmosis?
Removing scar tissue, ozone is very well known, especially externally. They use, for example, when you have fresh surgery, they use it's like a tape. When you have our big bags, you cut a small strip and you put that like this over your wound, and you blow in ozone at one end and into the destruct unit at the other end. Their results are phenomenal. The wound healing is expedited dramatically. No infections, no kind of scarring, and they can actually achieve that there is scar tissue completely removed. Now, that's from fresh surgery. From existing, I know that they inject, and this is again something I don't teach you, I don't tell you, it's just that's what they do. They inject tiny little ozone bubbles, little air bubbles, directly under the skin, right and left side along the scar tissue, so that your immune system can take the ozone to activate itself and to repair tissue. Ozone is highly active for tissue repair. That's why it heals the gut. So when you use those tiny little air bubbles under the skin, right and left side of the scar, that's how you remove it. The other one, I wouldn't know.
It's from breathing in spores of a fungus, so I guess ozone would make.
Okay, there is one concept that everybody talks about, and I haven't found one single medical study proving that it's not dangerous or that it has effect. They bubble ozone through olive oil. And by doing so, what comes, you take like your bubble stone, you connect that, put that into olive oil and bubble the olive oil, and on top a little nozzle comes out, and that's what they breathe in to treat the lung. I couldn't tell you if it's dangerous. I couldn't tell you whether it works. That's common practice. Many practitioners in Russia and so do it, but there is no research. And that's why I'm reluctant to tell you to do it, because I have no proof, and I have no proof that it's not causing harm. But that's how they treat the lungs. If there is spores, if there is mold issues in the lungs, to do that. What most clinics do in that case, they use rectal and autohemotherapy to have it as a systemic treatment, because systemic, it activates the whole body and the whole immune system. It might take a little bit longer than the direct targeted treatment, but it works. Sinus treatment, yes, you can pull out those spores and you can pull out bacteria out of your sinus, but with your lungs, it's critical. So maybe we find a research, maybe it's in another language and I just can't read it. We'll find out. And if so, then I'll publish that as well.
What about vaginal HPV, which is sexually transmitted infection?
Same. Respond. The most beautiful thing about ozone is all cells who don't have that protective enzyme shield, which most of the pathogens, all of the virus, all of the bacteria are, they die. So when you use vaginal treatment for sexually transmitted diseases, I think in one of the studies we had 78% of all sexually listed diseases responded to ozone treatment for vaginal treatment. And vaginal treatment is actually really cool. You take your bubble hose with your stop valve, you pull off your bubble stone, put the little lure lock connector, which was here before. Here is my bag. No. God, I got too many bags, too many things. A little lure lock connector. No, don't have one here. And then you put here your catheter on. So it's coming directly from the device going through into your vagina. And now let me just go one slide further. Here you can see different bacteria. This is different infections, and they showed exactly in that test, these were the bacteria load before, and then they started to treat bacteria treated with ozone at 20 milligrams per liter. Showed the start of a collapse of cell component in some cells. So 20 milligrams per liter. When you look at our setting at 1/2, which is a very low setting, we have 23 milligrams. So that's how they found out that the first part was like first cells started to collapse at bacteria treated with 20, showed the start. And then bacteria treated with ozone of 40 milligrams per liter, respectively, showed collapse and shrunken patterns and cell deformity, which almost they died off. So that was already working. And then they had in the last treatment 60 microgram per liter, which then caused a complete destruction. So I tend to, because we do home treatment, we don't have a laboratory, we don't know everything, to start slow. Start at 1/2. It's like the rectal insufflation. Start slowly and build up. Do it 5 days on 1/2. Then go up to 1/4 and do it 5 days. Check that you have no side effects, no reactions. And then you can go up to 1/8, which is 71, which is stronger than what they had. So maybe you want to keep it at 1/4 at maximum. Be careful. Don't overdo things to kill off those bacteria, fungi, virus, whatever you have, sexually transmitted disease. And on the next slide, there's another one. See, Dr. Emilia told us very beautifully when females have problems to have babies because their fallopian tubes up here are infected, inflamed, have bacteria overgrowth, then the egg traveling to the womb is actually not healthy. So when she starts cleaning out, they use ozone in that whole area to clean out, to restore the mucous membrane. And that's how she creates, fertility back into females. It's a really beautiful process, and it can be done easily doing that process, starting slow at 1/2, building up after 5 days. And they said, what was the study? 5 minutes at first, and then build up to 15-minute treatment. Now, the vagina doesn't have, like your rectum, a muscle to hold the air in. So it's like a constant stream. What they do is put a fan, you put a little bit of a fan or an open window and put a towel over your belly so that the ozone doesn't come up to your face. So when it streams, 1/4 liter is not a lot, but it's still. And a second factor that they all said is important, you need to use ozone water. So first make ozone water, fill up a syringe that you make, and then inject ozone water into the vagina, because it's dry. And the problem is all mucous membrane. You sleep at night with an open mouth and breathe through the mouth. It's all dried up. The mucous membrane cannot be reached. You know, it takes you lubrication and cleaning out and spitting out all the stuff to actually get to the mucous membrane. So when you do the treatment, really lubricate first with ozone water, wash it out, and then do your 5-minute up to 15-minute treatment, and then flush out again with ozone water so that you don't have any dry, irritating spots that could be irritating. Pain in the vagina can occur during sexual intercourse or urination, vaginal discharge, vaginal itching, vaginal inflammation, vulval inflammation, redness, and swelling are the symptoms that would indicate. And then if we go, rinse with ozone water using a syringe you can put in the catheter onto here I'm trembling, you can put the syringe on to your catheter and flush with ozone water first. Set ozone concentration 20 to 40 milliliters. I would stay in that range. Insert,
But wouldn't the water be freezing cold compared to the vagina? Yeah.
No, you don't do that. You don't need to have high concentration ozone water. It's more the lubrication, and because you use ozone water, it's 100% sterile. You know, you don't want to take mineral water out of a plastic bottle. You sterilized in water, sterilized and cleaned ozone water in room temperature. So don't do it ice cold. Insert catheter until you feel resistant. Start with 5 minutes per day. Increase slowly to 15 minutes. Place a towel on your lap to absorb the excess ozone, and you can make that wet. So if it's wet, then it absorbs a lot more of the ozone. And open a window so that there is enough ventilation in the room. Contraindications, open wound in the reproductive system. So if you have open, it can burn. And the burning sensation is not long-term, it's very short-term because it builds that seal. But it's like doing iodine on a wound. It's similar. You have your ozone on a wound that can cause burning. And transplanted organs, don't ask me why, but that's what they say. So I'll list it on my list as well. All right. Now, preventing vaginal inflammation by making the environment in which yeast and fungi love to grow more hostile for them to thrive. What does it mean? Reducing sugar and high carbohydrate intake. Sugar is the main fuel source for yeast infections. Then you have not using antibiotics because they kill off your immune system and your healthy cells as well as your healthy bacteria. So you cause such an imbalance, which then the pathogenic bacteria use. They can take over, free. And they're a lot more aggressive than your healthy bacteria. So you don't want to use antibiotics because that just destroys the whole mucous membrane. Exposure to toxic environmental toxins with lower immune system, like I said before, with all the heavy metals. And that also has to do with not taking other medications such as birth control pills. What is that? Corticosteroids. They always write me those words onto my chart where I stumble. And then reducing chronic stress, which impacts your immune system, taking adequate nutritional supplements to balance out deficiencies, increasing probiotic good bacteria intake either through supplementation by eating fermented foods, fight the infection and reduce itching with tea tree essential oils. And this is nice. You can mix them with coconut oil, because coconut oil is antiseptic, it's antibacterial, and tea tree reduces the itching and inflammation on a pad overnight, so that the etheric oils start to work. Exactly. I was getting there. And then fight infection, reduce itching. Organic plain yogurt can help be applied topically for vagina because they have those probiotic bacteria. And not using perfumed or harsh feminine products, which is probably one of the main causes. If you buy standard conventional supermarket hygienic tampons and all of that, they have so many fragrances and chemicals in them and disinfectants. They kill the good stuff as well. So you don't want to do that. Wear loose-fitting clothes and preferably 100% organic cotton underwear to promote oxygen flow and reduce sweating. And candida overgrowth causes cravings for sugar. You know, my favorite subject. It's not me. I have only one vote. And those 10 million bacteria in my gut, they just have the majority to drag me to the fridge and cause cravings. And it is in a way like that. If you have cravings, dramatic cravings, it's your bacteria creating chemical reactions which tell your brain, run to the fridge. And that's one of the problems that we need to avoid. Any further questions to this subject? No? That's good. Let me ask you a question. And this is something that I really appreciate most. You know, when you have a practitioner that offers you ozone treatments, just calculate roughly the price. You're there for an hour waiting time because most practitioners don't take you in when you arrive, so you wait. Then you have your treatment time, autohemotherapy. You have the big needles, plus you have cost, plus you have travel time. This is a lot of effort. And I know a lot of doctors will say, you can't do that, Marcus. They still need to come to us. And I agree. If you start out with a practitioner that really puts your values right, checks your deficiencies, checks where your mineral status is, your vitamin status, really helpful. But then you do the treatment at home. You know, 5 treatments a week. You don't travel 5 times to the doctor. If you do major autohemotherapy, which is 3 times a week, probably not either. You know, that's a few times and then you drop out like most people do. Here you can do that in the morning in 5 minutes. You know, that's huge savings for a device that lasts you, this one, lifetime warranty, unlimited treatments, even in a medical environment. And this one here, 10 years, you know, treatments, 250 years treatments and a 1-year warranty, a 3-year warranty, you know, and you can treat your children when they fall and have an open knee. You can treat your father when they have diabetic neuropathy. You can use it for vaginal treatments, for sexual transacted diseases, ear infections, mouth infections, everything. You know, it's absolutely incredible. And that's why I'm really proud of my little package. It was one of those things that I always wanted, something that helps in many circumstances. And when you look at the whole package, this is the old, this is the new. I need to change the image. It has 3 insufflation bags. It has the flow regulator for your country, the destruct unit to break down, 2 syringes, a power supply, which is 110 and 220 volt. We have, like I said, 50 of those left. So you want to be in time because then we charge extra or we exchange them with these standard oils. But this one is just it puts us outside the range. So 50 devices of those. You have a treatment bag. You have all the accessories that you need, your hoses and catheters, all in one bundle. Well, what else could you want? And you can use it for so many different problems and diseases that it becomes a pharmacy on its own. Now, for those of you who, and I think there is an offer that you can click on. Like I said, the ozone oil and free shipping will change once those are gone. And then we package the conventional or a good ozone oil, but not as medical advanced as this one into the box. All right? Any more questions? Otherwise, I am done. I have nothing else. No, that was the last slide. No more question? Good. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thanks for joining. And if you have questions, send them to us so we can cover them in 4 weeks. We have always once a month an ozone and once a month a PMF webinar. And then we have intellectual webinars. So for those of you who want to join us on, I think it's Wednesday in America, Thursday, Australia and New Zealand. It's a webinar. You'll already get your reminder, which is what to do when freshly diagnosed. And you probably remember we had this chart here, the cancer chart, where we worked through a very functional approach. I made a special mind map for you that you can print out and fill in all your gaps for this week, where you can go through and mark all the areas where you know exactly which test to order, who you can read it with. We have practitioners, some of our Truly Heal Health coaches that can help you to evaluate the whole process. So it's really beautiful to give you a cutting edge start so that you're not become a victim of, hype and any kind of marketing, so that you know exactly what you do, why you do it, and how it helps you best. All right? See you Wednesday or Thursday. More question? No? Good. Bye-bye.